Hello and welcome to the Lost Holocron. As always, I'm your host, James. Above me is my co-host, Richard. Rich, how are you doing this week?
I was a little sick, but I'm feeling better, so I'm good.
Good to hear, man. Good to hear. So, we got a bunch of exciting stuff this week. Some news, some speculation about what we're going to see at the Speaking D23. And, of course, we're going to be breaking down the season finale for House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
So, I think that we can just go ahead and dive right on into what we have for news. And the first thing I have up, if I can find it, there we go, is the guest list for Celebration 2025 has come out.
Ooh, anything good?
Let's see here. Alan Tudyk, Manny Jacinto, Daniel Logan.
Daniel Logan's the one who played young Boba, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the actor or the voice of the
That's the actor from Attack of the Clones.
Oh. Yeah, he's older now. You could use him as some young Boba Fett. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's what we all want to see. Prime Boba Fett.
Hard agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also have Tamura Morrison.
Nice.
Doug Chiang, who I'm not recognizing the name on site. Ashley Eckstein. And Anthony Daniels.
Nice. That's C-3PO, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Dude's got that.
So a pretty solid lineup. It's nice to see that Manny Jacinto is going to be there because I really did like him in The Acolyte as Kamir.
Oh, yeah. No, he's probably the best part of that series for me, honestly. He looked great. The lightsaber fights he was a part of were fucking peak. And I don't know. He looked great.
Yeah, we're going to have some people there, but I don't think either of us are going to be lucky enough to get to go unless one of us wins the lottery.
I hate traveling too, so I wouldn't go. I go as far as Vegas and like New York City.
You live in New York City. That doesn't count.
I know.
Up next, some unfortunate news. Daisy Ridley confirms that she has been diagnosed with Graves' disease. She was diagnosed in 2023 and has kept it kind of under wraps until this week when she talked to Women's Health about it. She is 32, and Graves' disease is like an autoimmune disorder that affects the thyroid.
That sucks.
But she's quoted as saying, "I didn't realize how bad I felt before."
That's unfortunate. She's a sweetheart. I don't know why I understand the hate the fandom gives, but I don't think she deserves a lot of it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, she even in this article says that, I kind of chalked it up to like the stress of doing a very difficult role, this, that, whatever. The doctor described it as tired but wired, which brought clarity to her condition. Ridley expressed, "It was funny. I was like, oh, I just thought I was annoyed at the world."
Living in America in 2020.
For real, bro. And later at the end of the article, she is also quoted as saying it's important to listen to the signs your body gives you. But it doesn't look like this is very terminally ill. But it is still unfortunate to hear, and I hope that this doesn't impact her acting because I have liked what she's done in her career so far.
Yeah.
But I got some interesting news as well. The first teaser trailer for The Last of Us Season 2 is out. And you've not seen this.
I've not.
I've not seen this.
Did you hurt her? Then what? What did you do?
Oh, my man. I saved her.
And that is all we get.
Okay.
Did you play the games?
No, I'm so boring. I hate those kind of games because they're so slow. They're like a lot of sneaking around. Like I want a Halo game where I have to kill every single thing in front of me, and I have the ability to do so. Or a lightsaber, so I can kill everything in front of me.
I think Season 2 will be very interesting. I think we'll see a lot more of the bricks and screws people giving some criticism there, though.
I like Love the first season, but it like for me has zero rewatch value because some of those episodes are fucking depressing. You know what I mean? So I'm not trying to
The
rewatch.
episode with Nick Offerman, I will never rewatch.
That's what I'm saying. It was like cinema, like pure cinema, and like gut wrenching emotion. But it's like, okay, I'm done with it. I don't want to feel sad anymore. Like the episode where I think at the very end she shoots the kid because he turns in the middle of the night. He's like deaf or something, or deaf or blind.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like such a powerful episode. And then his brother shoots himself in the head. I was like, I couldn't talk for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, dude.
Didn't want to talk. And I like, no, obviously, you know, spoilers for The Last of Us. You know, Joel dies. He gets his head beaten with a fucking like golf club, I think. And then she doesn't avenge him, which has caused a lot of controversy in the game kind of world.
Yeah.
So it's like, do I want to watch the season for something that I don't want to happen and is obviously hated? You know what I mean? But
I will say it makes a lot of sense to me because like the whole thing about the second game is like you have to let go of it at some point, otherwise you end up with your head bashed in by a golf club.
Yeah.
So,
you think they should have fleshed out a couple of years before that, like kind of gone off the rails and told their own story and then eventually Ed? No?
No, I really liked the adaptation, like how direct it was to the game. I think was probably one of the best ways that you can do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Unlike I hear the Borderlands movie.
0 on Rotten Tomatoes. Actually, it's at 3 right now.
Bad time. But you know what isn't at 3 on Rotten Tomatoes? House of the Dragon.
It's at 5.
We're not going to talk about it quite yet, but this last news article we have is talking about some spin-offs for the Thrones universe. Ryan Condal gave a press interview talking about what to anticipate for season 3. It sounds like that's when we're going to get with the Gullet.
Oh, yeah.
This season we were cut to 8 episodes. I feel like episode 9, if this had been 10 episodes, would have been that battle.
Yeah, they basically set us up for season 3 perfectly. But now, the way media is and we have to wait years, it's like more annoying than satisfying,
Mm-hmm.
They should just kept filming. Like as soon as you finish it, get a month break. Hey, and then come back to filming and then have it rolled out. You know what I mean?
Completely agree. So we know that we have a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, which we got a teaser trailer for in production. I've heard talk that there's going to be a series about Yi Ti and the Shadowlands of Ashai. We've always heard that rumor that we're going to get Aegon's Conquest.
That's what people
So,
want to say.
That is 3 out of 7. What else would you like to see from the Thrones universe adapted?
I'll always say this, man. Like they need a redo of season 8 in animation because the actors aren't coming back, unfortunately. But whether it's 7 and 8 or just 8, you need to redo the series because when I'm watching House of the Dragon and we see the prophecy, I'm like, I don't fucking care how Bran wins the Game of Thrones and stupid Sansa's Queen of the fucking North. That is the worst ending I've ever heard.
Well,
So we need to redo it so that way, when we watch House of the Dragon and they're foreshadowing these things, they're not as bad.
I mean, I don't want to put all of that at the foot of the show because this came out in 2010.
I don't think he's ever going to finish the book, bro. He'd have finished it by now. I wanted to.
Honestly, that's when the show got rough, is once they ran out of source material to adapt.
When did you think it was different? Like
Dorne,
I
think, was the big one. Yeah, because they cut 3/4 of the characters of that out.
The problem was the dialogue was so strong in the first really 4 seasons, even 5 too, obviously, and I think parts of 6 and 7 too. But it was untouchable in the beginning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the story just flew off the hinges. I was rewatching just kind of parts of the story because I like it, but I'm just not going to rewatch it. And I'm just like, I can't believe they fumbled the bag on the ending. But Aegon's Conquest, besides a remake of season 8, that's what everybody wants to see. We want to see Balerion the Dread, and we want to see how the stories of the Targaryens started, where the dragons came from.
So nothing else than that, just Aegon's Conquest. That's what you really want to see more than anything?
More than anything. Besides affixing, those two.
I think we'd be really interested to do the Blackfire Rebellions and Robert's Rebellion. Again, Robert's Rebellion, I feel like you'd have to do as a miniseries, much like I feel about Aegon's Conquest.
Yeah.
But the Blackfire Rebellions, because there were like 5. Give me them.
Yeah.
Give me them all.
Robert's Rebellion would be pretty sick, just because you'd kind of get like a young Ned Stark, young Robert, like in his prime, big and strong.
Who do you think plays young Robert in his prime, given that he's supposed to be like 7 foot tall and head to toe muscle?
Like it won't look like obviously the one that played him when he was older, but that dude who plays Jack Reacher in the miniseries, like he's so big and strong that like I feel like if you like, gassed him up, and then an actor that I'd really like to see in that world, I don't know playing who, but he's in fucking everything. He's in like Lord of the Rings. He played Bones in Star Trek. He's
Sean Bean's already been in it.
He is? No, not Sean Bean. The dude who plays the butcher in The Boys.
Oh, oh God.
He's
Carl Urban.
Carl Urban, yeah. Like Carl
Urban
needs to be in the Game of Thrones world. Because he's a chameleon for one. And like
yeah.
He's a good actor.
Dude, somebody had to tell me that Billy the Butcher was the same guy as who is it he plays in Lord of the Rings? Eomer or something like that.
Yeah, the one who gets banished, the son.
Yeah,
exactly. And like he's so fucking convincing in that role. And then he's Bones, and then he's Dread, and then he's the Butcher. And then he's the bald dude in Ragnarok. Like he can't miss.
Cannot. I completely agree with you. But we do have 2 more pieces of news that are not articles; they are just screenshots. Our first one, Disney says they're releasing 3 Star Wars films between 2026 and 2027. How do you feel about this? Good or bad? Initial reaction?
I think we need more movies, for Star Wars, as long as they're good, obviously. And I think the third one is part of the James Mangold that we've been waiting for, like the history of the Jedi starting, kind of like the Aegon's Conquest of the Star Wars world. Mm-hmm. And then we're gonna get the Grogu Mandalorian movie, and then the new Rey trilogy. So I like in terms of hype, it's like the Mando movie, the Mangold movie, and the Rey movie.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see all 3 of them.
And the Rey movie's at the bottom for now, but the moment they say John Boyega's back, I know it's gonna be up top for you.
That'll be number 1. If they literally say, hey, we obviously know we fucked up, we're going to kind of redo this, John Boyega's back, maybe even Oscar Isaac, and he's a Jedi, he's not a fucking moron, and Rey's building the Order with him together, oh my God, I'm hyped, bro. I'm like, I will never talk crap about The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker again if they bring John Boyega back, fix his story, and just give us a better trilogy. Like, I'll even apologize. I'll be like, I'm sorry, Last Jedi, I didn't recognize your game.
I was wrong.
That's all you need to do.
And then our other piece of news, Deadpool and Wolverine, $900 million at the box office tonight. The movie is...
Did I do that? Did you do that?
I didn't do that.
What the fuck was that, bro?
I don't know.
I was like, yo,
interesting.
I went Super Saiyan. I don't even know how. But yeah, no, that movie, I don't know if you saw it yet, was fucking amazing. If I didn't have a child and super responsibilities, I would have seen it again.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, and like I don't know, like he says that he's hanging up the Deadpool, but they're about to make him $1 billion. We're going to get a Deadpool 4 or Deadpool and Spider-Man, which I think should be next eventually.
I think the next likely one's Deadpool in any Marvel film.
Yeah. The best part of that thing was that supposedly Kevin Feige was told by Disney, hey, you pretty much can do whatever you want, but there's no more drug use. So they kind of make fun of it by saying it all, but he does not do cocaine because he did so much in part 2. And I think that, talking about pegging, killing people, chopping off their fucking heads, burning people alive, ripping off their skin, that's all fair game. But they're like, hey.
No more blow.
Yeah, you can't build a snowman.
Bro, the whole meme of Kevin Feige having to explain pegging to some Disney exec just kills me.
Be like, yo, it's not that bad.
So we got a couple of Revenge of the Pigs coming up. What's up? What is this one about?
What did you enjoy more, The Acolyte Season 1 or House of Dragon Season 2?
House of the Dragon Season 2, hands down.
Yeah,
definitely a no-brainer for me. Loved it. I think it had some weak points, but
Sidebar then. What do you think had the better action scenes?
I'm gonna say the Acolyte just because we got more of them than we did in House of the Dragon. Like the Battle over Rook's Rest was dope. Wish we would have seen more.
Yeah.
Wish we would have gotten the Gullet this season. But season 3 better deliver the hype. Because we know this is only a 4-season deal. So next season's gotta be war, and more war.
Yeah. I agree. Nah, but like House of Dragon definitely didn't have any low points that I feel the Acolyte did. But some of the lightsaber fights, you know, I've rewatched them. Like I've like put on episode 5, put on episode 8, and just watched the fight scene because it was like, A, I want to make content for TikTok, and B, like it's just good. Like it's just good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the only thing that really held this back in my eyes is that we didn't get the full 10 episodes for House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
I feel like if we had, that my answer would probably still be House of the Dragon.
Because it kind of, you know, there was a strike problem, you know, the writer's strike when they were allowed to keep working out.
And the actors.
Right. Yeah. But
Not,
no, I was upset. But I still enjoyed every week. That wasn't like, now I have to watch the finale to like, I was like, no, I can't wait to see it because there's still really good performances. Like Rhaenyra was good every episode she was in.
Bro, master of facial expressions.
Yeah, her son in the show, obviously, like Jacaerys, he was an underrated, like, you know, part of this season. Every scene, yeah, exactly. Like his face card, like that fucking jawline was peak, and like even the one scene where he was being like, you know, kind of unjust when he was like, "Hey, it's better than death, ma," you know, like
yeah,
he did it so well.
And I loved. And I do mean loved the discussion between the two of them after she gets the Dragon Riders.
When he's not special anymore type shit.
Yeah, where he's like, well, what the fuck does this mean for me? Were you even thinking about what this meant like when I have to go claim the fucking throne?
Yeah. Yeah, no, he was really good. She was really good. Allison's always good. I think Amond, even though like we kind of fucking, you know, hate him as a character, he did really well this whole season.
I will say the Greens are despicable, but my God, the acting power. I think that Aegon's actor, Tom Glenn-Carney, murdered the role.
Yeah. Even the most hated person on this show, motherfucking Kristen Cole. This last episode, that one, you know, conversation he had with Allison's brother, where he's just kind of cleaning his knife and like he's not even paying attention to just threatening him. He talks about how Allison saved him and this doesn't matter. The dude put down a sword. He's like, I think you're kind of right. I'm going to go think about my life now.
Yeah.
Like, even Kristen Cole this episode was just phenomenal in his delivery.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I think that kind of gives it the House of Dragon. You know,
I really, for this season, I can't think of a bad actor in the show.
Not one.
All right. Next up on the Revenge of the Pick.
Like, in terms of kind of everything, you know, his, like, manipulation tactic, deceivability, like all of this all of this stuff about these characters. Who do you think is the better one?
I'm sorry, did you say who has the more punchable face? Because it's a tie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's hard. Like, if you're factoring in who the better manipulator is, I really have to kind of go with Peter Baelish. I think he did more shit to hang in there against all odds. I feel like if D&D had a little more source material to work with for what he was trying to accomplish at the end, then we might have had a more fitting conclusion to his storyline. Yeah, but I will say this. There is something uniquely slimy about Larys that actor just brings.
I don't know if I definitely know. I hated the way they kind of ended Littlefinger's that, like him with like Sansa and Arya, like it seemed so quick and so kind of dumb. Like, so it makes me wonder how George kind of would, because he's obviously going to die. Like most people die in the story, like how he would have died in the novel version. You know what I mean?
I think that, again, that's one of those things that I feel like they were on the right path, but they didn't know how to execute it properly because there was no source material to work with. I will forever lay the failure of Game of Thrones on the feet of George R.R. Martin for not finishing the books, because clearly Dan and David know how to adapt source material.
Yeah. It's hard to write your own stuff, even if someone started it.
Like the 3-Body Problem show they're doing. Fantastic. A wonderful adaptation of the first book. Game of Thrones, while they had source material until they ran out of shit, good to go. And I'm not going to lie, George R.R. Martin did leave a lot of plot points hanging. That there's like, well, how the fuck am I getting out of this? And you're kind of left scratching your head and trying to figure out what plot lines you're going to cut and things like that. That I could see it's a very daunting task to figure out how to finish that series.
Yeah, because I like remember reading like it was like all the things that like were kind of left out of the TV show, like the plot points, like even like the stupid little spiral thing that they started in the first season. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, that's a show only thing.
That is?
Yeah.
Lame. See, adapting things you don't even have a.
Well, I mean, I think it was like a little world building throwaway, like, oh, this symbology is important to them because of some reason that you'll find out later, and we did. Because that's like the rock formation around the tree when dude gets stabbed by the children of the forest. But that was entirely a show contrivance. Hell, even the Night King's not in the book.
Really?
Mm-mm. But at least not that anybody's ever seen.
So were like the White Walkers ever like in the show besides like the first prologue?
Yeah.
And like they are? Okay.
Yeah, the White Walkers show up semi-frequently. What doesn't show up is just like a leader of them. Like some kind of great, in the books they call them the others. So some sort of like great other. Speculated it exists, but nobody knows.
All right. Yeah. I'll probably go with who's it, Laris, because he killed his own family. And right now he seems to be kind of winning. Like he convinced even the king to be like, let's go. Like when he was like, yeah, your brother's gonna kill you. You haven't figured that out yet?
Come, King, let's take your one good foot. You have your mother's feet.
Yeah, bro.
Did you know that, Aegon?
And they're both creepy because he's got the foot fetish and he's trying to bang Sansa when she's like fucking 15. So it's like you're both kind of fucking gross.
And they're both Lords of Harrenhal. But let's get to the meat and bone. What did you think of the episode? Favorite part and a score for me.
I don't think I can give it less than an 8 because there's nothing bad. It just was slow. You know what I mean? My favorite part, I really like seeing Daemon go through the vision and then seeing with Helena, like the how like she's kind of like talking, she's kind of like seeing this like without even any help of the tree, she's just like there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like just her talking to Aemon afterward, and he's like, "I can have you killed." She's like, "It wouldn't change anything." She's like, "I don't fucking care about anything. Bye. I'm leaving. My son was killed. Everybody's at war. This sucks."
Yeah.
What about you? What's your favorite part?
You know, I really think that this episode, I'm going to have to give it up to the dinner scene with Ulf and Hugh, where Ulf was like, more of these little birds.
Then what was that birds? You fucking prick out. He's such a dick.
I loved the whole, like, you could tell the, like, Jace, number one, hated that they both were there, but Hugh was trying his best to have some sort of decorum, whereas Ulf was just like, oh, yeah, I might as well be back at the bar with the boys. I think it was a very, like, showing how pissed that made Rhaenyra and that kind of disdain that they have for that very clearly low-born person that's not even like a hard-working blacksmith that's been to court before.
There's no manners for court. He's got no manners at all.
I will also say that I'm going to come up with an unpopular opinion here.
Uh-oh.
I really liked the dream sequence. I shit myself a
People
little bit
didn't like
when I
it?
saw this. A lot of people didn't like it for the same reason you said, like, oh, well, we know how it happens, so it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like stuff like that. But I mean, you get to see Bloodraven here, the young looking Targaryen dude there, which no real spoilies, I guess. When in Game of Thrones, the old dude that Bran goes to meet,
yeah,
same dude.
Okay, Brandon Rivers or something like that, right?
Brendan Rivers, yeah, the Bloodraven was the nickname because of the scar, the birthmark thing on his cheek.
Yeah.
But no, I was super hyped to see that. I loved the whole imagery of Daemon walking through the battlefield with all the dead dragons and then himself just falling into the water there. I love the juxtaposition of this with that scene with Helena and Aemon, where you can tell it's like immediately after she says this shit to Daemon
Yeah.
Aemond walks in, and he's like, "Bah, I'm an asshole," and she's like, "Yeah, and you're gonna drown to death, and nobody's ever gonna love you."
I'd love seeing Daenerys because, like, to this day, I'm mad the Game of Thrones ended with Dany dying, like, and like her turning into the Mad Queen. Like, it was stupid writing. She's freeing slaves. I get it. She's not perfect, but that's not how it ended. And if like she ended with, because I always thought the Song of Ice and Fire would be her and Jon Snow hooking up, because that's what makes sense. That's what makes sense. And if that had happened, and then you see Daenerys in this vision, you're like, fuck yeah, fuck yeah, fuck yeah. I can't fucking wait for Dany to come and bust y'all asses with the three little dragons. But now when you see it, it's kind of a little annoying because you're like, oh, yay, Bronn Stark and Sansa, and Dany's dead, and Jon goes to jail before his boy breaks him out. You know, but the vision itself, oh man, I was like, oh my god, like I rebounded right away. Like I was not even waiting for the end of the episode. I was like, I want to see what happens again.
Yeah, I really, really liked this. I did hate, however, that they gave away the biggest damn spoiler this episode.
Wait, which one?
It was in this conversation when Helena's like, "You're gonna drown in the God's Eye."
Yeah. What exactly is the God's Eye again? Is that a place?
That is the big ass lake
Okay.
that sits next to Harrenhal.
Okay. All right.
And out in the middle of that bitch is an island full of weirwood trees, and allegedly some children of the forest still live there.
People with the antlers.
Mm-hmm. The little green people from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like, it's so good when they kind of just do it in the background. Like he walks out there and you just see the dude and he just runs behind the tree and that's it. You know what I mean? I thought that was like really cool. But yeah, I can't wait for next season just because they've set everything up and there's no need to like kind of explain anything. I'm saying not every episode will be action packed, but there will be a lot of action and a lot of kind of what we wanted this season.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, honestly, it really feels like everybody that's worked on this show has loved it, especially because, again, just like with the original show, the cinematography hits different. You pointed this out when I was like, what is this slide about? Yeah. So I'm going to let you explain what we're seeing here.
For one, that's the last basic shots of this season. And Alicent and Rhaenyra had that kind of conversation. And when they're together, you know, it's just really good. And, you know, Alicent was kind of like not begging for forgiveness. And Rhaenyra's kind of like, I kind of want to hear it. But she ends up letting her leave. And you kind of see the shot of the two of them together because they're connected no matter what. And, you know, Alicent kind of like is almost free. That's why there's like nothing around her because she's like, you know, fuck this, fuck that. Like, I'm sorry. I don't care if history paints me villain. And
kill my son. I'm out.
Yeah. Rhaenyra's stuck under the weight of all this like responsibility thrust onto her. And it was like, you know, a quick transition there. You see Rhaenyra and then you just see Alicent like that. And then it ends. And like, that was just like a beautiful construction of a shot. You know what I mean? Like storytelling without words. And it was really good. Which
I think is a hallmark of a good show if you're able to convey this. Because you said it's kind of like, you know, Alicent's very free. Rhaenyra has all this weight on her. They do really convey it very well in this one shot. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, the reviews. How do you think that season 1 stacked up to season 2?
I don't think it's nearly as bad. Like for one, I think the 6.2 was the episode where the two girls kiss, and then they literally was like review bombed in other country because of course they hate gay people. You know what I mean? So A, fuck them, and B, I don't think that's a right ranking. I think the worst episode should have been around like a 7.7, like the Burning Mill. You know, I don't think anything was wrong with it. Even the season finale, like they're not bad. They're just not like a show isn't bad because you don't get what you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that this speaks to like Game of Thrones really does feel like it has gone too mainstream, as much as that kind of pains me to say.
Yeah.
I was just going to sound really gatekeepy and asshole-ish, so just bear with me. I feel like one of the things that makes this show strong is when it doesn't seem like shit's happening. And then 3 seasons later, you get that like recap at the start of the episode and you're like, wait, what the fuck? I thought that was just a one-off scene that had nothing to do with anything. Like there's stuff that's going on here that is going to come back as a recap and you're going to be like, oh, that's what that meant.
Yeah. That's just good storytelling. I mean, I thought the first season was really good because, you know, it was paced well. like you had the young kind of crew, and then it just goes right into the old crew. So there's no break in like the story. They tell the most important parts, and that was kind of what we needed. And I think I told you this earlier. The one thing I would have changed about this season is I would have added kind of like a flashback episode or time jump, just because that would have helped the pacing along.
Mhm.
I don't think they want to kill certain characters so fast, so they kind of have to drag the story out a little bit. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
everybody loved when Rhaenyra was in that one scene with Daemon when it was the younger one. Everyone loved it when was the old king? What's his name? The one
Viserys.
Viserys came back for that one scene talking to Daemon. You could have had one whole
The
episode.
stuff in the finale with Viserys was great.
Yeah, you could have had a whole episode where like you bring these characters back and you kind of just show how something in their youth kind of connects to now, and it wouldn't have been that bad, I think.
And I do think you get some of that through Daemon's visions.
Yeah.
And I know that Daemon's vision quest has been something people have complained about a lot this season, but I really think it helps like explain why he went with Rhaenyra. Because from the book's perspective, Daemon's like vain, cruel, very calculating, very politically minded, but always wanted that throne. So it really came down to like, well, why did he make this decision? Can we explore that? And I think they did well with it by choosing him to absolutely fucking trip balls at Harrenhal for a season.
Yeah.
Because you're right. I don't think they want to kill off any characters too soon. And it turns out that some of the
best
bigger fights will kill some of the best actors in this show.
Oh, yeah. No spoilers yet, guys.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase that right, and that's about as vague as I can go.
I like how Daemon was talking to the girl, and she's like, everybody comes here, sees visions, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, you don't scoff. And he's like, I'm inclined not to. I believe it. I get it.
My man was like, yo, it's fine. Yeah. I'm tired. I want to leave. Me and my noodle.
You just reminded me. You know what my actual favorite part of the episode was? Was when Rhaenyra was flying, and then like Caraxes just like wakes up. And he was like, yeah. That's all the dragon. Yeah. He's like, I've been stuck here. I've been having bad dreams. Daemon won't leave. Come save me, please.
He's gone mad.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited for what we're going to see next season because I really feel like they'll have to go balls to the fucking walls.
Yeah. The first episode's probably going to be the Battle of the Gullet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What'd you think of that girl and Timon, and all the names she was calling?
Bro. I've seen people hating on that scene, and I don't understand why. Like, Tyland himself is very like, I have to do this. I cannot go back without these ships. They're like, oh, well, they wouldn't have made him wrestle and made fun of him. They don't care. Of course they would have done that. They're just trying to see how much they can belittle this guy because he has nothing that they want other than revenge. So you may as well make a mockery of him.
Yeah, that was funny. And then like they fight. She's like, you know what? I like you. You want to bang my wives? And he looked legit scared. How many wives do you have? But then he looked hard at the end, like when he was just standing on the thing, like the boat's rocking, he's not even moving, and then she stands next to him. I was like, all right, man, this guy got his little moment. That was good. You almost make me like you.
Yeah. What do you think was the weakest scene in the episode?
The weakest scene in the episode?
If you had to pick one that makes you feel like this is a 6.3 scene, what do you think it was?
I don't know. I mean, I really did like all of it. Probably just, I don't know, probably the dinner scene, I guess, for me. Just because, like, I didn't like golf. Like, it was good, but, like, everything else, like, a little better. You know what I mean? Because I felt like they did that scene with Jace already. And then when they did it with Rhaenyra, it was like, you're just doing the same kind of scene again.
Yeah, I could get that. I think if I had to pick one, it's the Alicent and Rhaenyra stuff. I think that was very, like, I had to be like, no, you just have to maintain your suspension of disbelief. This is ridiculous, but it is happening.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't really think that she would have went out there and been like, oh, yeah, Vagar's going to be gone. You can kill my son. I don't give a shit. Just let me and my daughter and my granddaughter get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
That seems like a pretty big departure for me. And if I was going to nitpick anything changed from the book, I think that That one's the one that's gonna get me.
It's crazy that it's a 6.3. Like,
It does seem low.
That's fucking low.
Like, I could see going with 7.7 because nothing really happens.
Yeah.
Like, they're just mostly setting stuff up. But I will say there was a great battle scene this episode that everybody seems to be overlooking, and that is Corliss's bastard son waylaying into him beside that ship, bro.
As a person who has never met his dad,
yeah, same.
I was like, go, get him, mail it to Ecuador for my dad. You know what I'm saying? Same thing. Like that, he ate with that speech.
Yeah, my dad came back when I was like 17 or 18 because he had terminal cancer. So I was 100% with that guy. Like, oh, now's when you choose to be participating?
Yeah.
Really, bro?
Yeah. And I get what Gross is trying to do, but it's like, bro, it's too little too late. Like, he doesn't care.
No, you're going to have to give him a big prize. Like, I don't know, a big-ass castle.
Yeah.
Maybe
and I was brother with a dragon at least. You know what I'm saying? Like, he made his pissed. Like, he may not want a dragon, but he's still a little jealous that this guy got a dragon.
Well, I really do think that's what they're foreshadowing is they're going to make this guy the Lord of High Tide, the head of House Valerian. Because he even drops that, I'm Salton Sea line that we got earlier in the season from, I believe it was Bela, the granddaughter.
She's like, I'm fire and blood. You're Salton Sea.
Yeah, Driftmark should go to Salton Sea or something like that.
Would you think it a change from I think that was Nettles, the character they got rid of, and they're giving
Reyna all the Nettles bits because she tamed Sheep Stiller. Yeah.
Sheep Stiller's design was pretty peak though. Like he looked feral as fuck.
Yes.
And
he
like
definitely looked like a dog you don't want to go near.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like all the dragons are obviously fucking scary. But like that dragon, like I'd rather pet any other dragon besides that dragon.
Well, I don't know about any. Vagar. And there's one dragon we've yet to see that I wonder if they're going to ride out completely, which is Cannibal, who we haven't seen.
Yeah.
Do
you think we're gonna get him in season 3 or 4? Because
well, nobody tames him that I remember, but he does die, like during or right after the dance.
Okay.
But I think that's more of a case of commoners putting him down, if I remember correctly. It's been a long time since I read Fire and Blood. I'd like to see him. I didn't think we were going to see Tessarion and Dayron. The blue dragon at the very end of the episode.
Okay.
And his rider.
You gotta stop naming these people so alike, man. I swear to God, it's driving me crazy. I'm not trying to be professional. It's like Rhaenyra, Rhaenys. It's like, dude.
There were 5 different Aegons who were king, 2 Viseryses, 2 Jaehaerysses, Maelor, Maekor, Baelor. They all of them sound so similar. It is
I feel like that's like a good writer flex. It's like I could name them anything, but I'm going to name them similar.
I think it makes a lot of sense, and all of the names have kind of like the same styling to them as well.
Yeah. I'll never get over that. I remember like watching Lord of the Rings. It was like his name is Saruman and his name is Sauron. That seems okay.
Close.
Yeah, like you could any other name in the world. Like one letter apart. I hate you.
Let's see. So, what do you think we're going to see next season? We've said the gullet, but what else do you think you're going to get? Because you have no idea what's coming. So I always love to hear your predictions. Because I feel like I'm cheating.
I definitely think Daemon and Aemond are going to fight. Because they've like foreshadowed that since the first season.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we kind of like both lose in the situation. I feel like Aemond's going to lose more, but like I don't think Daemon walks out of next season. If I had to be real.
Oh, you think they both die?
I think they both die. Not maybe at the same time, but I think, excuse me, I think Aemond dies first, then Daemon dies later in the season. I think the one that everybody hates, Sir Kristen Cole, I think he dies next season as well.
It's a pretty solid bet.
I think I kind of know this, so I heard that like one of the dragons riders who just came up portrays Rhaenyra.
Yes.
Yeah.
So who do you think that's going to be?
Like, I don't know, because like the way they're showing it is like Ulf seems like a dick, and he could be like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go actually hang out with my boys in King's Landing and join that side. But then the way they kind of showed who's the other dude's name?
Hugh,
Yeah, the
the
hammer.
black guy. Yeah.
Hugh, like they said, like, well, what if someone else wants to claim the dragon? And I think or the throne, and then they immediately showed him. You know what I'm saying? So like that could show us something. But I don't think it's the one who's
Adam.
Tim Sea Smoke. Yeah, I don't think it's him.
Pretty good bets.
Yeah.
Pretty
I
good
almost
bets.
don't know because I'm like, why? She's winning. Why are we gonna make them lose? Ugh, fine.
Well, I'm really hoping that we'll get to see some of that next season. Now, who do you think the next dragon that eats it's going to be?
I don't want to say any of them.
Somebody got to die. And we know that none of them make it out of this.
Sea Smoke. That's who I'd guess. What do you, since you do know, what do you think is something they'll change next season?
Well, I know they're going to have to change the gullet, so I feel like that's cheating.
Why do you think they changed it?
Because that was like Rhaenyra's younger son, Aegon, or no, Joffrey.
Okay.
The third bastard. Was in it. And he's definitely not going to be because he's already at the Velaverin getting ready to go to Essos.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I don't think we'll see him.
Do we see any more of, like, you know how Rhaenyra sent away the 3 dragons that would eventually become Dany's and that whole crew? Mm-hmm. Do we see them again, or are they just removed from the story forever now?
Well, they went to the Eyrie, and now they'll be going to Essos, I believe, like Bravos or Pintos, maybe.
Yeah. And they stay there until basically Daenerys is
until
dead.
It's done.
Okay.
They come back with the dragon eggs. I don't know what'll happen with those because in the books, they're a different set of eggs. They're still Syrax's. No. They're Dreamfire's eggs. But there are 3 of them that get stolen by this lady and sold so she can buy a boat to sell around the world.
All right. I think Helena's going to die. Now that you just mentioned Dreamfire. That's her dragon, right?
Yes. Now, how do you think she dies? Do you think she's going to die in battle, or do you think she's going to kill herself?
Now that you said that, makes me think she's going to kill herself.
Well, I mean, she's already very clearly said, like, no, I'm not going to go into battle on the dragon. I'm not doing it. So I wonder if it's going to be like, maybe it's Aemond kills her because she won't do it. And he's like, well, fine, somebody else will ride her. Or maybe she kills herself, like, straight up just says Dracarys while she's standing in front of Dreamfire as opposed to fighting.
Oh, I like her so much. She's so, like...
I know what happens to her, but I just figured I'd throw you out some fun theories.
Ooh. I mean, I hope she dies in battle, at least in some hard way. But the way, like, this universe is, it probably just make it so tragic that, like, you can't watch the episode ever again.
It's not a bad guess.
Ah, fuck you, bro. This is terrible. I'm gonna have like 2 years of agita thinking about this shit now.
Not bad guesses at all.
I'm gonna have to like rewatch this like after next season. Be like, damn, you were kind of close.
I think we're gonna see. I think the gullet will come first, but I also think Kristen Cole dies next season.
Okay, good. That'll make everybody who hated this season love it. That's all they really want to see.
That's all
I think he's accepted his death by this point. Like he's just like,
he's like, after what happened with the dragons over Rook's Rest, my man seems ready to just be done. One way or the other, win or die.
He banged 2 queens in his life. Something most people have never done. Probably never.
That is true.
Like
my man has had a baller career. He's got them stats.
Yeah.
Trying to think of who else would be a good one. Do you think they take King's Landing next season?
Nah, because then I think there'd be too much to tell. Because there's 4 seasons, right?
That's what we've heard. They're doing 4 seasons.
I feel like if that does happen, it'd be like season 4.
Well, we could go back to 10 episodes next season too.
Yeah, I hope they do. Like it's just a better storytelling medium.
I really hate this 8. Everything has to be 8 episodes that we're doing.
And they're doing like hour ones and like hour plus ones, and it's still not enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I don't know. I'd like to see us go back to 10 episodes next season, just because there's a lot of ground to cover as well. If we're going to wrap it up at 4 seasons.
Yeah, and maybe get the showrunner and producer that left season 2.
Oh, Miguel Sapochnik.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, I don't think he had a really negative effect leaving. I mean, sure, we can argue the review scores and some of the changes they've made were questionable, but George sat in on some of these writing meetings and gave approval to some of this and told them how to do some things. Like, genuinely, I think that this season really got drawn out in like the early stages of the war.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to have more characters around for later. I think that if we had ended on the gullet, you would have had a lot more pissed off fans.
They should have done like, to really piss off fans, like do like 10 minutes of the gullet, but not show like any conclusion. Like
the whole thing. Just like the start of it, dragons flying out over the sea.
Yeah. Because what dragons are headed that way? Like it's Sea Smoke and with the 3 new ones?
It'll be Sea Smoke. I think Vermithor was there. And then I can't tell you anything else.
Okay. All right. And then they just have just a shit ton of men on the other side.
And Vagar, I believe.
They have and Vagar. Okay. All right. Oh, damn, bro.
Because like the whole Battle of the Gullet is the Trauerarchy and whatever ships they have in King's Landing trying to break that blockade up.
All right.
So,
why didn't Vagar just break up that blockade like a while ago?
Well, yeah, so here's the thing, and you see it this season, since the dragons are still around, they still have their ballistas and shit laying about.
Okay.
Like you remember, I think it was earlier in this season, or maybe it was the end of last season, where the dragon approaches the city and the dudes are already up there loading it and aiming it, and then someone's like, oh, it's Vagar, it's good.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Like, that stuff's there now.
It'd be like, what dragon is coming? I don't know. He's got a hole in the wing. It's Vagar. We're good.
Yeah. Dude, I bet you they were shitting their pants when Silverwing came over King's Landing like that.
Yeah, Ulf is a fucking maniac. Like, I know he fucking said, hey, go do that, but like, he's just like, you.
I mean, wouldn't you though? If you were just like, hey, this dragon adopted me, sweet.
If I had a fucking dragon, I would be like Rick from Rick and Morty on that dragon, like listen to fucking like that Molly song, like in that episode.
Yeah,
that's what I would be doing. Now that all the dragons are here, though, which one would you be wanting to ride, though?
Bro, that's tough. Because in my heart of hearts, I say get a big one like Vermithor, right?
Yeah.
But I think Caraxes is where it's at. He's just such a little noodly boy. I love him.
And his neck is like, makes it seem like he just gives him extra scary points. You know what I mean? He's like a slithering snake and he just keeps coming. And then all of a sudden, a huge dragon body fucking appears.
Well, he's like one of the smallest ones, too.
He's, small relative to a dragon. I mean,
yeah.
I like Sea Smoke a lot. I just like, when I saw him in that episode in the beginning and he just yelled at Rhaenyra, was like, get away from my boy. I was like, yo, that dragon's got your back. Like, that's the one I want. And he's kind of like, he's not small, but like a little more agile, when you're that tiny. You can do whatever you want.
I also like how Cyrax's design always just looks pissed off and mad.
Yeah.
Like, look at it in that shot.
Yeah. He's like, you killed my boy. Fuck you, Vagar. I'm going to kill you. Do you think the season should have ended right there?
I think that might have been a stronger ending than what we got this episode, but I really feel like there's some stuff that gets set up in this one.
Yeah, you need it.
And honestly, like the scene of Daemon bending the knee to Rhaenyra, you had to wrap that storyline up. Like, I feel like you had to do this one.
Yeah. I love...
But I definitely feel like you could have switched them.
Yeah, okay.
And changed some things up and had this be your final moment, like the sewing as opposed to the fealty of Harrenhal and all that.
My entire favorite shit, though, is how, like, they'll be having a conversation, and she's like, and who do you serve? And then he's like, I'm going to speak to you in another language, and these motherfuckers can understand what I'm saying.
And that is such a stark contrast, too, to earlier in the season when we see Aemond and Aegon trying to do the same thing. And Aemond is very proficient in High Valyrian, and Aegon's like, I can make a war?
Someone didn't do their lessons.
Yeah.
Who speaks better Valyrian, Rhaenyra or Aemond?
Probably Rhaenyra, just because of time put in. But I think Daemon has every single one of them beat.
No. I think Aemond has them all beat.
Really?
Yeah, that one conversation we had with his brother, he was speaking like, I don't know, like he just had it. And Rhaenyra's insane. Like she's one of the tops, especially when that one scene with her calming down Verdugo, you know, like
where she says Dohaeris.
Yeah, Dohaeris. And she's like, you need to stop. Like
Wait.
that's like a literal trending sound on TikTok, is just her saying, you know, like, was it Lakiri, you know, like
yeah. But I think Daemon, and the reason I say this is like Daemon is a Targaryen supremacist. Like dead ass, believes that they are closer to gods than men. Has spent his whole life with that belief. That's why he's like, you know, we are the only ones that should have dragons. We are the only ones that should know how to speak High Valyrian.
Speaking of that point you just said, does Daemon know that there are 3 other riders that are not? No.
Does not appear so.
Does it happen in the book that he finds out and he's fucking pissed, or is that just...
I don't remember, because part of me wants to say, be like, well, that's fucking stupid. Why would you get 3 lowborns to do this? But on the other hand, I think that, like, as a military commander, he would have to go, yeah, okay, we had to saddle these babies up.
Better than death.
Yeah. I think he might be a little pissed that they gave away Grandma and Grandpa's dragon.
Yeah.
Vermithor and Silverwing both.
Yeah. Daemon seems like the only one speaking the language that isn't like memorizing something, though. I'll give you that. Like he seems like, oh no, I speak this like at my house, like not even on set, like
like an ESL kid speaking Spanish.
Yeah, like he's just like, I just figured it out. It's really good, actually. This language is pretty boss, you know. Like I'll give you that.
Like Aemon to me seems that he learned it to impress people. Daemon seems to have learned it because it was expected of him, because he believes it makes him superior.
Yeah.
He's like, well, of course I know this language that these peasants can't speak, all these Westerosi garbage. You know?
Even like that little romantic thing at the end, which is like, you better not fucking leave me. And he's like, I can't.
I tried.
Like, you know, that was good. I like that they had that. And even the dude who's like, he like runs the place. He's like clapping in the back. He's like, yay, he's not treasonous. Everybody's happy. Like he seems so happy.
Bruh. Simon Strong has been my favorite secondary character this whole season. The interactions that he and Daemon have had, I'm still reeling at. What is it, Sir Simon? Is the pudding ready?
Yeah, like they did a little too much Luigi's Mansion, but like...
See, I was fine with all that, because Game of Thrones has a lot of like supernatural fantasy elements that we didn't get in the show.
Yeah.
So I'm fine seeing it here.
I think people are just mad because like we know Daemon and his murder cloak are superior, and we only got it like one time, and it was in the very, very beginning when he had some like little child killed, you know.
And to be fair, if you're gonna wear the murder cloak to do something conspicuous, it might as well be kill the son of the king.
Yeah, like legit, I swear to God, the best thing would be is whenever he has this huge battle, because you know one's coming. Like if he was wearing his murder cloak on the fucking dragon. Like that's what I want to see.
Oh, here's one for you. Do you think Aegon's dragon is actually like dead?
I've heard that it's not, but they said it was in the show, and so how he would like, where would it be? Just like left on the field? Like fuck this dragon?
I would assume probably somewhere out on Crackclaw Point where Rook's Rest is recuperating.
Yeah, because he's a dragon. I feel like if anybody can recover from that type of thing, it's the dragon.
Well, I will say the dragon does survive in the books. So it'll heal and find Aegon. I wouldn't be surprised if it did, number one, because the most charming scene of Aegon Targaryen, the second of his name this season, is right before he goes to get roasted like a marshmallow, and he and Sunfire have that little moment together.
His mom literally said, hey, just do nothing. And he's like, do the opposite. I'm going to fly into a war zone drunk.
You know, that's got to be like when dudes used to just drive horses around, you know? And like you would get drunk, but the horse could find its way back home.
I like the because I don't think Aegon, for one, in the first season, he didn't want to be king. He was literally actively avoiding it by running away, right?
Mm-hmm.
His mom and his family is the one who forced him to do it. And then when he was king and he's like listening to the peasants, they're like, oh, I need this. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll give you that. Like, he is not a bad person. He may not be the best person, but out of that family and out of most Targaryens, he seems pretty fucking chill. So I'm kind of sad for what happened to him.
Yeah, like it does seem like he was just seeking validation anywhere he could find it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm very excited to see what happens to him. Like during the latter half of the war, we'll say. Because he makes it to the end.
Yeah. Which sucks for him because he's fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, he just needs some like 19 or like 2010 doctors. He'd be fine in like a week. But back then, you're wrapped up.
So in the books, it's described that when Sunfire crash lands, he jumped from the saddle to clear the crash and shattered both of his legs. So he never walks again.
Oof.
So it'll be interesting to see if that's the case here, if they're going to have him continue down this path with Cain. But I don't know. Like, Larys does take him out of the city in the books, too. So I was excited to see that they kept that.
Larys is just playing kind of like both sides of the greens at this point.
No, I think he knows that Aemon does not like him.
Oh, yeah?
He's like, well, better go ahead and put my ace in my back pocket, take the king out of the city.
I don't think Aemon has anyone really on his side except for Vhagar, which is, pretty good person to have on your side, but...
I think Kristen Cole would probably still be reliably in his corner.
Really?
Well, he was the one that was like, no, if we're gonna have a prince regent, if we're gonna have a regent for the king, it has to be a dragon rider because this is the dragon's war now.
Yeah.
So
I'm just so mad that we have to wait so long.
I don't think it'll take as long to get out as season 2 did to get season 3, unless by some freak accident we have another strike that lasts 6 months.
Oh god. So annoying.
Had to be done.
What's the next big thing you're looking forward to? Like any
well, we got Rings of Power at the end of this month. I'm excited for that. We got Night of the Seven Kingdoms. The Duncan Egg stories are coming out next year.
Are you excited for that? Because I feel like I'm not excited for that. And I'm going to give it a shot, but I feel like the more I hear from it, I'm like...
If it's anything like the novellas, they're actually really dope, and they're set in kind of like a rose-tinted glasses version of Westeros, because it's all like Duncan reflecting on when he was younger with his squire, that it turns out like the squire is a Targaryen that ends up being king. They call him Aegon the Unlikely because he was 5th in line.
Okay.
That would be
egg, right? Because he's egg gone or something like that.
Mm-hmm. So he calls him Egg and shaves his head so no one knows he's a Targaryen.
In the books, though, didn't they all have like the purple eyes?
Yes. They didn't do those because Emilia Clarke said the contacts really bothered her.
Yeah.
It was causing like severe issues with her eyes.
But for like Duncan or like Egg, they didn't notice that he had like purple eyes, or just he didn't have them.
No, he did, but it's one of those like, could be a bastard.
Fair enough.
Like, surely no one from the royal family is out here squiring for a hedge knight.
Yeah, okay.
But no, I think that the Duncan Egg series actually might be pretty interesting. I know that George has a lot of interest in those still. Like, he's still actively writing the novellas. And he wants to take it all the way to the end of Aegon's life and to Summerhall, where Rhaegar's born.
Okay.
So it'd be interesting to see for sure.
Rhaegar's the one who basically fell in love with
Lyanna.
Yeah.
So I think if they did that, it'd be interesting. I'd also like to see a lot more in the universe, because I do think that it's just really good literature. Like, the world building is insane. There's so many things they could do. But I guess for right now, we'll have to wait and see. But we did hear, and sadly, we will not be covering it until next Thursday. We get a Skeleton Crew trailer tomorrow at D23. Yeah. So when you guys tune in next week, we're going to be talking mostly about what we see at D23 over the weekend.
I think... from what I heard, Jude Law is a Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna get kind of like a Goonies vibe where he like takes care of some kids. It's gonna be in the time of the Mandalorian. And for the diehard nerds, we all know who Max Rebo is. Max Rebo Band.
Little baby Max Rebo boy.
There's gonna be a little alien version of him, so that'd be cool.
I again, I don't know if I'm excited for that series or not, but I'll still watch it.
I mean,
like, I think Jude Law in it might go either way.
Jude Law's when he's on, he's
on. Yeah.
I was watching the like the old Sherlock Holmes movie with Robert Downey Jr. and him, and like that first movie was so fucking good, bro.
I know. But that is unfortunately all the time we have this week, folks. You can catch us not next Thursday, but the Thursday after. I work next Thursday.
Yeah, you don't want to have me just here. I'll be talking, I'll be rambling. You need the both of us, guys.
No, I'll give you the StreamYard keys. You can do it. We will see you the Thursday after next, folks. For now, have fun. Bye.
Bye.